Today on the CTV News at 5, fire chief firing fallout. Almost a dozen Blairmore firefighters quit after their chief of 37 years is relieved of his duties. Plus, Southern Alberta ranchers continue dealing with the aftermath of September's massive grass fire. And meet the McDonald's employee who did the right thing, turning over an envelope full of cash to police.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. The heat is on in the Crow's Nest Pass after half of Blairmore's volunteer fire department quit in protest after the station chief of 37 years was fired. Chief Jamie Margatak was relieved of his duty by the MD of Crow's Nest Pass on October the 1st. No word yet why he was let go. Blairmore Fire Department called an emergency meeting last night. 10 members resigned because they didn't agree with the chief's dismissal. In the meantime, municipality staff say public safety will not be affected. A contingency plan is in place that includes the remaining 50% of its volunteer firefighters and about 100 firefighters in the area to respond to any blazes. Now, public backlash over the chief's firing is picking up steam online for the MD of Crow's Nest Pass Facebook page. Kathy says it's mind-blowing how this council and administrators are running/ruining this community, how soon they forget about the 2003 Lost Creek fires, and how these same men spent 7 weeks that summer protecting our towns. These are the same men who developed the best thing we had going, and you know it. Well, Jeff writes, "Good job, boys. The bullying has to stop somewhere. They're not going to stop systematically weeding out locals here unless people start showing the dignity these firemen showed here. We need to all follow their lead, and I hope for one would be happy to. Cheers again, boys." Tanya adds, and this is why the Crow's Nest Pass is on a fast track to devolving. How can the council members sleep comfortably knowing they've ruined the kinship of the pass in just a few short terms? Or did the CNP become a tyranny while I was away? There is an MD meeting tonight, but MD officials would not tell us if the situation will be dealt with. Well, it's been 3 weeks since a wildfire burned more than 21,000 acres of pasture land west of Milk River, and ranchers are still dealing with the aftermath. The September 10th fire destroyed hay, it burned down corrals and damaged fences. As Terry Vogt reports, ranchers have been putting in long hours as they prepare for the coming winter.
This is the fire of 9, 10, 11, 12.
Barry Snow says he'll never forget the prairie fire that swept over his ranch on September 10th and 11th. Right now, the reminders are all around him. Burned fence posts, tangled barbed wire, and blackened soil as far as the eye can see.
Pasture land is a real critical thing. My neighbors over here have been told they won't be able to pasture theirs for 2 to 3 years.
The grass is gone and the spring pastures are gone, so I've got to find a place to calve our cows out, because this is probably 2 years getting back to what we had before.
Mac and Peggy McCrae have been forced to move over half of their cattle to the Pincher Creek area and expect to move the rest before winter sets in. The ranchers are also busy replacing fences, on many days working from first light to well past dark, to try and get caught up with all the work that needs to be done.
We were probably already behind before fighting fire for a week and a half. Now we're just another 2.5 weeks behind from where we're almost starting to look like we're winning because we're so far behind. You've heard that before, I'm sure.
It's hard for to think about those guys that lost stuff, It's not a nice thing.
The ranchers are getting support from friends, neighbors, and local businesses. One of the oil companies even hired a crew to help put up fences for a day.
We're so privileged to live where we do, and people have been so helpful.
The farmers and ranchers in this area are still waiting for the insurance claims to be sorted out, but they already know that it's not going to be enough to replace the hay and fencing material that was lost in the fire.
Maybe it covers 3/4 of a mile of fence. I think there's about 7 that we need to do, so that's a little shy.
The ranchers say with help, they can replace the fences, but it'll be up to Mother Nature to restore the grassland. Terry Vogt, CTV News, near Milk River.
The County of Warner has agreed to be a drop-off location for people who wish to support the local ranchers. Cash donations are being accepted at the county office, while fencing or building materials can be dropped off at the Public Works yard. Okay, Dory Rossiter, some single-digit highs in the forecast, but temperatures actually for the weekend are going to be back into the teens.
Yeah, you're right, Jackie. When you look outside the window right now, it looks kind of eerie out there. It's dark, it's raining, we've got moisture making its way down to the surface. Overnight tonight, that moisture is going to take the form of some wet snowflakes. No one wants to hear that, except the skiers at this time of year, of course. They'll be very happy about that, but it's not going to be with us very long. By the weekend, looks like sunny and really nice temperatures. I'll give you all the details coming up in a couple of minutes.
All right, thanks, Dory. Well, there's more confusing news today for the public trying to follow the twists and turns in the XL Foods E. coli scare and recall. Today, health officials confirmed 2 additional cases of E. coli in Alberta, bringing the total number of cases being investigated to 11. One, though, has already been dismissed because it's not at all linked to beef. But a 5th case of the E. coli in Edmonton has now been linked to steaks from a Costco that came from the XL plant in Brooks. Today, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency has added even more meat to the growing cross-country recall of products. The additional products now include roasts and sausages, which could be contaminated with E. coli. Meantime, the agency continues to investigate the meat packing plant in Brooks, which had its license temporarily suspended last week. 2 new E. coli cases are being investigated. Now, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency has some advice for Canadians with beef in their freezers, and when in doubt, throw it out. Information on the latest recall is available on our CTV Calgary website. Alberta health officials say for the first time, children will be able to get a seasonal flu vaccine through nasal spray instead of needles. Alberta's annual influenza immunization program kicks off October 15th. Similar to last year, the influenza vaccine will be offered free of charge to all Albertans 6 months of age and older. The vaccine will be available through public immunization clinics as well as through some pharmacists and physicians' offices. This year's vaccine protects against 2 strains. Health officials say the shot will also protect against H1N1. In Lethbridge, mass immunization clinics will start Monday, October the 15th at the main pavilion of Exhibition Park. For clinic locations and times, you can visit our CTV Calgary website. Well, there's new help today in the fight against seniors abuse. Jennifer Payne was introduced today as the new LEARN coordinator for the Lethbridge Senior Citizens Organization. The LEARN program aims to help those experiencing any form of abuse. In Canada, 7% of the elderly population is facing some kind of abuse. Payne says that means in Lethbridge, between 1,000 and 1,500 older people are experiencing abuse. The most common, financial abuse, is also the most difficult to detect or catch.
None of us really want to be involved in, we don't want to be seen as sticking our nose into other people's business, and the truth is if we don't, nothing's going to change and nothing's going to get better for people who are experiencing abuse.
And that's the thing, most people look at seniors as being vulnerable and that they're not able to protect themselves, and this gives us an advantage of being able to protect them outside of the police service itself.
Regional police say their numbers for elder abuse are actually down. They received between 60 and 70 calls last year for seniors' abuse-related issues, and they say the majority of them do go unreported. An inquest into the death of a man in Cranbrook will get underway on Tuesday. The inquest will focus on the events surrounding the death of 36-year-old Colin Coylak. Coylak died in Kelowna Hospital on January 3rd after being found unresponsive in a Cranbrook police cell 10 days earlier. Now, he was first taken to East Kootenay Regional Hospital in Cranbrook, but then later transferred to Kelowna for further treatment. The inquest will begin October the 9th at the Cranbrook Courthouse. The Lethbridge Skateboard Association will have to keep fundraising before plans for a new skateboard park become a reality. Monday afternoon, Council voted 6-3 against providing extra funding to start building a new skate park. LSA raised about $60,000 of the $400,000 it needs to put towards building a larger facility, but members say fundraising has been slow. The city has committed up to $200,000 towards the project, but voted against extra city funding at this time. LSA could approach City Council when the city enters the capital improvement plan discussions this spring. Well, a Lethbridge McDonald's employee is being applauded for doing the right thing. On September 10th, sometime between 1 and 1:40 in the afternoon, an envelope full of cash was found on the counter at the Fairway Plaza McDonald's. Chelsea Walker found the envelope, and when no one returned to claim the cash, she immediately handed it in to police. The owner will have to identify the bank name on the envelope and the amount of cash. Walker says it was just the right thing to do.
Well, it definitely wasn't mine. Not that I wouldn't have wanted it to be, but it definitely wasn't. And I know that somebody somewhere was having a really bad day and they wanted that money. They obviously had intentions for it, and they had plans, and they needed to have it back.
Police officers thank the McDonald's staff member for having the honesty and integrity to turn in the envelope. So far, though, the money hasn't been claimed. As we mentioned, the rightful owner will have to identify both which bank the money came from and how much money was in the envelope, as well as providing a receipt from the bank transaction. Canada's favorite dancer is continuing to build her career south of the border. Tara-Jean Popowich is best known for winning So You Think You Can Dance Canada. The win brought the Lethbridge native a cool $100,000 grand prize, a new car, and a key to the city. She's now performing with the SHE Dance Company in Hollywood, appearing as a dancer in live concerts and music videos. Popowich says the ride has been incredible and non-stop.
Busy. Yeah, it hasn't stopped, and I feel really lucky. I'm bi-coastal right now between New York City and Hollywood, so it's definitely helped me out so much. I miss Canada a lot, so that's why I try to come back whenever I can.
Tara-Jean will return home November 24th to teach a weekend dance seminar. There is more information at her website, tara-jean.com. Well, if you hadn't heard, 2012 was the 100th anniversary of the Calgary Stampede. And in honor of the occasion, Alberta singer-songwriter R. Bruce Innes and cowboy poet Doris Daly collaborated on a new CD of poems and music called 100 Days of Thunder. We get more in this week's report of Farm TV.
We spoke to Bruce and Doris in Millerville, Alberta, where they were performing at a private event honoring organizers, sponsors, contributors, and participants of the Millerville Ride for Stars, a trail ride which recently completed its 20th anniversary ride, raising funds for STARS, Shock Trauma Air Rescue Service.
First of all, we did agree that we wanted to capture the essence of the Stampede and the feel of the Stampede, but we weren't interested in writing a factual document with every statistic we could find and throw it into a poem or a song and make it rhyme in some corny, convoluted way. We wanted to really lift it up off the historical pages and make it live and breathe for us. A cowboy heads west, a grave stands alone, and 3 little words.
The CD contains 10 poems and 10 songs.
Yeah, it was just fun. It really was fun. It got more and more exciting the more we got into it. I'm outlawed. Hey, cowboy, get off my back. I can move to the left, slide to the right. I can spin like a funnel cloud. Well, the cowboy's up, then it's down, and I'm playing to the stampede crowd. Thank you.
Farm TV is brought to you by DA Building Systems.
And on the markets today, a number of down arrows. Hear how the markets wrapped up the day.